pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
we the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
Our Constitution was made for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate for the government of any other. The very reason for the First Amendment is to make the people of this country free to think, speak, write, and worship as they wish, not as the government commands.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Declaration of Independence defines the basic structure of government as grounded in unalienable rights that are given to us by God.
Religion was part of the public square from the very beginnings of America.
In fact, most of our towns in the Ohio River Valley were created around a church. The first building that was erected was the church. You know, we've got a lot of judges in this country who either don't understand or reject our nation's founding history. They don't understand the importance of religion, and in fact they think religion is an impediment to the kind of free, unwilling, do what feels good mentality. And they're using their positions on the bench to legislate out religion.
Make no mistake about it, they want to take God out of our country.
The Founding Fathers never expected America to be a place where you could be free from religion.
We can hardly believe what they're doing.
Christians have to spend most of their time defending their right to live their lives and to raise their children with their values.
It's not a world I want my kids or my grandkids growing up in.
The traditional family values that we all take for granted are really under attack today.
We are seeing more and more across the United States activist judges making decisions. I'm hailing from California right now, where we have just gone through a tremendous upheaval here in our own state with 4 judges overturning 61.4% of Californians and their will to define marriage.
Too much of our country right now is not being decided by the will of the people. It's not even being decided by the legislatures or the Congress. It's being declared in the courts.
One of the keys in working with unelected officials, judges, and bureaucrats is that you always have the ability to sue. It doesn't always work because sometimes the courts themselves, of course, are left-leaning. But if you don't try, you don't win.
In cultures and in countries where our freedoms of religion, for example, freedom of family, freedom to gather, have been removed, then the voice is silenced.
We need to get into those courtrooms and we need to declare that we're not going to take it.
My belief is that God's called us as lawyers, as advocates for faith and freedom, to dwell in this land and cultivate faithfulness.
The Constitution, when it was written, was created to limit government. Because government has slowly seeped into every area of life and slowly gone beyond the bounds of what it was created in the Constitution to do, advocates is necessary to step in and protect that erosion of civil liberties that we see as a result of government intrusion into our lives.
We have to preserve our First Amendment liberties in order to preserve a democracy, in order to preserve a democratic America.
The public interest view that Advocates for Faith and Freedom has is actually much more consistent with the Founders' view because it tries to lay the foundation for a strong and just and moral society.
Bob, he's brilliant. He's a gifted attorney, and he really has a heart for people and for God.
There should be more groups like Advocates for Faith and Freedom fighting for rights of Christians and Americans. Working with Bob and Jen was very helpful because they talked to me and they prayed with me, and it really helped me feel encouraged.
Advocates is a tremendous organization. They're just out on the front lines defending our constitutional rights, our faith, our freedoms. The impact of what they're doing is much more far-reaching, and it has effects all the way to the federal level.
We're not just a law firm that is going out and filing lawsuits for the purpose of filing lawsuits and representing people and trying to get a win. We want to create precedent that preserves religious liberty and protects our First Amendment rights. But there's also even maybe a bigger aspect of what we do, and culturally, maybe even a more significant thing that we do, And that is getting to the culture of America and saying it's time to wake up because we're going down the wrong path.
What Advocates is doing affects the very core of where we live, the very core of our faith.
But it's going to take people standing up and countering this culture that tells us all of these things that are so wrong and immoral, that we need people to stand up, like the prophets of old in the Old Testament. I believe Advocates has the opportunity to have a big megaphone, a big platform to be able to use our lawsuits to be able to point out right and wrong. As this battle over faith becomes more and more intense, Christians are going to begin having to draw a line for themselves. And when they make that affirmative decision that they're going to stand up for their faith, I think that is where we're going to see such a great change and a great turn in America. I've got great hope for America. And I think that our nation is going to have an opportunity to come back to its knees and thank God for the many blessings we have.
Right now, it's a perfect time for all of us to join with these people and to make something great happen for God.
It's very expensive to fight court battles. There's all kinds of expenses, and they need our help.
Advocates needs financial help so that they can continue working the cases.
The left has millions upon millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars pumped into these legal attacks every year. Our people have a pittance, and it's up to the patriots to step up, and if we don't, we lose.
None of this is cost-free. None of this is cheap. You need to understand that the other side is busy, they're raising money, they're engaging. And if we don't raise some money, we certainly don't have to match them dollar for dollar. But if we don't get engaged, if we don't open our wallets, then we're really facing a case of unilateral disarmament. And if we lose, then we have no one to blame but ourselves, because if we didn't engage in the fight, then the other side's going to win every time.
My husband and I support Advocates because it gives us hope to hold on to our God-given freedoms.
I'm asking you as a pastor, as an American, as someone who's concerned about the United States of America and where our culture is going, if you could support this great organization financially, this will enable them to do what they need to do, and that is to fight where you and I perhaps don't get the chance to fight. But the outcome is absolutely essential, that we maintain our freedoms, that we see the America that our founding fathers gave us, and that by supporting them, by giving financially, you'll play a great part in seeing this through. Like never before, we need to fight for the freedoms that you and I enjoy so much. So please, please consider supporting this wonderful organization.